Don't tell me the game just crashed. Oh my god. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to cyBorg Gaming. As you can see, we're already off to a bad start. I was recording the original race about 20 laps in or so, and the game just crashed on me for no reason. So I had to redo it, which was unfortunate because I was pretty tired at that point. These races, these 50% races, they take quite the toll out of you. But I went through it and I did it again. So that's the race you guys are going to be seeing here today, qualifying. I did the previous day before recording the race, so that was saved and everything went well with that. But if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you please drop a like on the video if you enjoy it. I've been seeing some growth recently in terms of views for the video, so if you like it, make sure you drop a like. If you really like it, subscribe, helps me out a ton. If you guys didn't watch the last video as well, hit the link above me. Make sure you guys go watch that. Really entertaining race. We're battling with Max Verstappen in Sochi, and if you don't want me to spoil it, go back and watch it right now. But for those of you who are still here, we took P1. We were able to etch out Max Verstappen in Russia, and now we are tied for points in the Drivers' Championship with 5 or 4 races left in this season. We also have Lewis Hamilton, who is not tied with us, but he is very close as well. Look at the standings right there. But this season is gonna come down to the wire, and the battle continues here at the Marina Bay circuit in Singapore. Coming into the end of our first qualifying, we put up a 137.2, which is only good enough for P9, and we're almost 2 seconds off the pace. But as long as we get into the top 16, because there's 22 cars, it doesn't matter. Going into Q2, we put a lap up on the softs that got us into P3, and I kind of just thought, well, might as well just go on the mediums. If we can start on the mediums, that would be great, because then we just avoid all the traffic going into the pit lane from the soft tires. And I don't know what it is, but for some reason I found that I had a lot more grip on the mediums for whatever reason. As you can see in the bridge section, we are 2/10 up from our previous hot lap on the softs. Going down the straight, we get a little bit of a slipstream from Lewis Hamilton. That helps us out a ton. Gave us almost 1/10 of a second. We come entering sector 3, 4/10 up from our previous hot lap. Carlos Sainz currently sitting on P1, not pole position. But going into sector 3 again, the final turn, 3/10, almost 4/10 up. We lose a little bit of time on that final turn, but we put up the fastest lap. But then everyone else finishes their hot laps. All the other cars are coming in, and we get P5, but on the medium tires. So if the race does start in dry conditions, we will have the medium tires to start on. But as long as we're in Q3, that's all that matters, because that's where the gloves come off. This is where the time really matters, and especially in Singapore, very narrow street circuit, you want to start as close as to pole as possible. Of course, unless you're on pole, that is where you want to start. Second hot lap here, I always put up the fastest time just to save you guys a little bit of time watching these videos. But going down the main straight, we're a little below the previous hot lap, but it's a purple sector 1 anyways. Still down, we're just dabbling around the 0 delta, but sector 1 and sector 3 are definitely my better sectors. Sector 2, I just struggle on that hard short left-hander after the bridge. I don't know what it is, I just don't ever seem to have enough downforce, and you have to turn the car into a straight line super quick, otherwise you spin out or you just lock up, and it's horrible for the lap. and you can't really see the point where you're supposed to brake at either when you're turning into it, so it makes it extremely difficult. But sector 3, we make up for that red. Sector 2, we're 3/10 up on our previous hot lap, and that puts us into P4, literally like 5/100th of a second behind Max Verstappen. I feel like I've been denied like positions by hundredths of a second multiple times this year, and it's just so unfortunate. But it is time for the race, guys, and let's get right into it.
Against the spectacular backdrop of the Singapore skyline, Formula One returns once again to do battle in what tends to become something of an endurance race, with the notorious sauna-like temperatures in the cockpit making for an extremely physically challenging Grand Prix. We have a high risk of a safety car here today, as the abundance of tight corners mixed with these wet conditions could put a few cars off into the barriers. 23 turns then, 13 to the left and 10 to the right, make up the 3.1-mile lap of Marina Bay.
So unfortunately, I lost all of the original footage, so I can't run you guys through the traditional tire strategy. But I will say right now that the race starts raining, so that whole push on the medium tire was basically pointless. But we do start in P4 in front of Sergio Perez and behind Max Verstappen. We are going to be looking to be aggressive in the first few laps of the race, because we need to get in front of Max Verstappen as soon as possible. And Lewis Hamilton, he's still in the fight too, he's still close, and a race win for him today would definitely put him really close to the championship P1 spot, depending on how Verstappen and I finish in today's race. The weather forecast indicated that the rain's going to last until around lap 15, so we're going to be on the intermediates and then probably hop onto the softs after that. But with that being said, guys, let's get right into this race. We got 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and we are underway here in Singapore. Max Verstappen looks to cut us off to start this race. We are trying to overtake him as soon as possible. We go around to the outside. Verstappen fighting on the inside into turn 1. He does have inside positioning, but can we get around him going into turn 3? Currently, we are ahead of Verstappen, behind Charles Leclerc, who's behind Lewis Hamilton, and we have made the takeover on Max Verstappen, heading down the straight. No DRS. DRS isn't activated for another 2 laps, but Verstappen comes fighting back, and we are wheel to wheel into turn 4. Again, I have that inside positioning this time, going into the slow sector of sector 2. We need to keep Verstappen behind us at all costs, whatever it takes. There's only so much time left in this championship battle. We got 4 races, and I haven't mentioned this at all, I don't think, but we're going to be taking severe grid penalties next race, because if you look at the engine, it's basically yellow. It's almost turning orange. All the components are worn out. I'm already taking a risk here, trying to get the most out of every component, and with the fight so close, it sucks. We're gonna have to take a grid penalty, most likely in Japan next week. But we're going into sector 3 here. Max Verstappen, 0.2 of a second, just under 0.2 of a second behind us. He's looking to get on the inside, trying to overtake us. We are wheel to wheel down the main straight. Is he going to overtake us heading into turn 1? And he does. He overtakes us going to turn 1, but he rides over the curb, and we retake the spot into turn 2. I'm not sure what happened there. I think Verstappen just turned in a little early, rode too much curb, and that cost him time. He drops to 0.6 of a second behind us. Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari following him pretty closely, but Max with the slipstream, probably using that battery. He is wheel to wheel with us again. Is he going to overtake us into the next corner? No, we have the outside positioning that usually doesn't help, but it allows me to get on the throttle just a little bit faster. And we still have the position over Max Verstappen. But Jeff is telling us now on the radio that the track is starting to dry up. And from the looks of it, it is, but it's still drizzling. So I guess it would be better to go in, because if it's not raining enough, the intermediate tires start to overheat, and that's literally just going to kill your race. So it's better to just put up with a little bit of wetness on the medium tires. Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc pass us. Let's see if we can stay out in front, remain in P3, because the track is starting to get drier and our in-lap wasn't that good. But Carlos Sainz passes us out of the pit lane, and we are racing Lando Norris out of the pit lane, but he is able to pass us as well. We come out of the pit lane in P5, did not pay off to box a lap later compared to the other drivers, and now we have to fight back to get positioning over these two drivers and gain the maximum amount of points possible. And on to lap 9, Verstappen is behind us again. I thought we got away from him early on in the race, but he's Max Verstappen. He wants that championship as much as I do, and he is back behind us by 0.3 seconds. But down the main straight, he's trying to go to the outside. He switches sides. He's going to take that inside. We're wheel to wheel again. This is the third time into turn 4 that we are wheel to wheel, and once again we come out in front. I'm just a lot better on the brakes now. I feel like I'm more comfortable using the race wheel and the pedals, but unfortunately it's not enough, as Lando Norris and the rest of the pack ahead are starting to majorly gap us over a second a lap. We are 10 seconds back on Lando Norris now. Lewis Hamilton is in P1. If he wins this race as is, he will take the lead for the Drivers' Championship. Verstappen had a power issue and he drops back now, so that's good for us. If he can stay out of the points, that would be amazing. Look at Schwartzman now. He is fighting for P10. He's trying to stay in the points, and his engine blows out. He sets a smoke screen on Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll doesn't see it coming, and he hits him. Is that going to be a safety car? Robert Schwartzman to the side. Did Sergio Perez suffer damage too? He's slowing up behind Lance Stroll. Oh my god, it's a full safety car. And Perez, I don't know what the heck he's doing, but he seems to be fine. We're going to take this chance to go into the pits on lap 15 and hop onto another set of mediums. Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, Leclerc, and Lewis Hamilton as well are already in the pits. They're coming out. They're on a pair of soft mediums as well. It looks like Sebastian Vettel is going on to a pair of softs, so some drivers are taking some major risks here. But that is so unfortunate for Schwartzman. I think he's DNF'd at least twice already this season. But that takes him out of the points. We're already out of the constructors, so it's not that big of a deal. But it would be nice to at least try and get into P4 in the constructors fight, because that just means more money at the end of the season for cyBorg Racing. And with that opportunity for all the drivers to pit Verstappen, I think he pitted earlier, so he is back up in P7. He is back in the fight. The moment I am thinking he's out of the points, he's out of the race, he's like, I don't think so. But our teammate comes in clutch as we resume racing here in Singapore, giving us another opportunity to try and get to the top of the grid, to try and maximize on these points, as every point matters this season. And going into sector 2, we look to overtake Lando Norris. We cut the inside and we get it done. We're in P4 now behind Carlos Sainz. We are 1 second. We're going to see if we can close that gap on him and get into a podium spot at the very least. I honestly cannot believe what is happening. Schwartzman just blesses us accidentally with an engine failure. We're in the fight once again in this close-knit 4-way battle for the Drivers' Championship. And as we continue on through the lap, we are blessed again. It looks like Charles Leclerc is suffering some sort of issue. He might have to go and get a wing replacement, but he goes in the pits. That gives us a free spot. We're 5/10 behind Carlos Sainz, and we are now on the podium spot, looking to take P1, looking to take it away from Lewis Hamilton. We got 10 laps of racing left here in Singapore. No DRS for 2 laps after the safety car, but we got the slipstream, we got the battery. Let's see if we can overtake Carlos Sainz. We go to the inside, we brake a little later, and we overtake Carlos Sainz. We're now in P2, 1.7 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton for the race lead. And with that yellow mustard colored engine, it won't be enough. We drop nearly 10 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, and it is unfortunate that we're not able to take P1 here, most likely unless Lewis Hamilton's car fails in the next half lap. But I am definitely satisfied with this finish. Starting in P4, we drop a little bit behind. Robert Schwartzman absolutely just gifts us a safety car to try and get this lead back, and we capitalize on the opportunity. Again, not P1. Carlos Sainz, though, he might have something to say about it, as he is 7/10 behind us. He's trying to overtake us. He's not in the fight for the Drivers' Championship, but you know, these F1 drivers, they want to maximize their performance. They're fighting for their jobs. They're fighting basically for their lives out there. And Max Verstappen is currently not in the points. He's behind Charles Leclerc. Again, I'm not sure what happened to him. Early on in the race, he was in P7, but now he's dropped again into P11, so maybe some power issues as we come through the final turns here in Singapore, and we're gonna finish P2. We almost spun out into the last turn, but it doesn't matter anymore. We got P2. Lewis Hamilton tops off the podium. Carlos Sainz alongside me and Lewis in P3. Lando Norris P4. Just wow, what a race. But the real question is, how does these results affect the Drivers' Championship? We are in P1 definitively. Once again, Verstappen drops to P3 after having 0 points in that race. And with 4 races to go, man, this is going down to the wire. Might be even a little bit more dramatic than the actual real-life 2021 season, as that was only like a 2-way race. On top of that as well, we managed to pass Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship, which is just a bonus for me. That's more money for the team at the end of the season. Schwartzman's DNF low-key just came in super clutchy. We ended up finishing with more points than if he didn't even DNF. But this next move is gonna make the championship even more interesting. We are replacing all the components. As you can see, the engine is basically mustard yellow. I'm surprised we didn't have the same fate as Schwartzman in Singapore. So we are gonna suffer a grid penalty in Japan, but that should make for a good race, because at least online Japan is pretty decent for overtaking cars. And we are gonna be driving to survive in this Drivers' Championship. But with that being said, guys, this is going to be the end of the video. I'm going to wrap it up here. If you watched all the way up to this point, let me know what you guys think of the post commentary. It was kind of a good opportunity because my live footage got corrupted and I couldn't use that in the actual video today. So let me know in the comments. If you really liked it, please drop a like. It helps me out a ton. If you really liked it, make sure you're subscribed, you hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys for Japan for the continuation of this Drivers' Championship battle next week. Have a good day, guys.